Hi, it's Craig from Scratch at 50. This was supposed to be one video about getting fit for golf, but we got so much great content on the day that I've had to split it into 3 videos. In the first video, you're going to get introduced to Alex and Natalie and learn about their expertise within this field, and also a great little tip for helping to get more rotation and release your hips within your golf swing. In the second video, there's going to be some exercises to help you get more flexibility. And then in the third video, there's some advice and a great drill on trying to make sure you've got the correct posture in your setup position. I hope you really enjoy these videos. If you do, then hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to make sure that you don't miss out on more content like this coming very soon. In 17 days' time, I'm going to be 52 years old. I'm suffering with a bad back. I've got the flexibility of a plank of wood, but I'm going to meet 2 people today that are hopefully going to be able to help me out with that. So I'm down at Mottram Hall today, and we've got 2 guests on the channel. I've got Alex, who I'm sure a lot of people out there in the YouTube world will already know. He's got one of the biggest PGA teaching channels on YouTube. And also we've got Natalie, who is a fitness trainer, and she concentrates mainly on golf.
Yeah, got a new channel here on YouTube, but also a website, Offscratchgolf. The idea is basically combining 2 elements. Like you said, you feel stiff. You obviously get golf coaching as well. Yeah. But bringing them all together in one place, we feel that we can make a real difference. And it's aimed at all ages and all abilities, right? So yeah. I mean, everyone out there is trying to get more club head speed, they're trying to hit it further. That's a trend that we're seeing in golf now. Yeah, so, but even like Natalie explained this now, like we've even got things like stop your slice, early extension. So we sort of cater for everybody, and people probably don't realise that slicing the golf ball is probably just down to your body, and then a little bit of coaching is fine.
Yeah. Right, so let's see what you can do to help me out, because I'm obviously getting a bit older now. I'm starting to suffer with less flexibility. That's the biggest thing. I do suffer with a bad back, but I think that is actually all linked to flexibility. Would that be something that would be quite common?
Yeah, mostly. We find, a lot of golfers, lower back pain is the #1 reported issue or injury for most players. Yeah. And typically it stems from other areas. So it will stem from a lack of strength or a lack of flexibility, lack of mobility in other areas.
So on the lack of mobility, so in my job, I spend a lot of time sat at a desk, sat in a car. I get home, I sit on the sofa, I look at my phone like this. I mean, that's obviously all contributing to
massively,
that being a problem.
Because you think in that particular posture, you're getting very limited movement. Yeah. And as a golfer, we ask you to create huge amounts of rotation in your pelvis, in your torso, and have the joints mobile, as Alex will know from a teaching perspective. When he asks people to get in positions, and he's probably like, "Whoa, that's not getting there." If you're spending 8 or 9 hours of your day sat in the same place, we don't get any movement off the glutes. The tissues aren't moving. No mobility, and over time that just sort of compounds, and it shortens and shortens and shortens, and results for you in a less flexible motion basically.
And so what are good exercises for? I mean, you don't have to go to a gym, I presume.
No.
You can do it at home.
No, exactly, and that's the whole premise of what Alex and I do, is that we want to make sure that the movements, the exercises are accessible. Because if you put a barrier in the way and say to someone they've got to go and buy all this stuff, they've got to pay for gym membership, they've got to get there, they're less likely to do it. Yeah. So a lot of the movements are very basic. So as Alex mentioned, we always start with posture. So we want to check how would you set up to the ball from a physical point of view. So I'd be looking at your spine and at your pelvis. Yeah. Are there any anomalies in there? So if you're setting up in one of these postures on a regular basis, that will contribute to things like back pain before you even start. So we want to check that first of all. If there's something in there that we can change, we maybe give you a couple of simple exercises you can do at home. And a lot.
Okay, so want me to set up to the ball?
Yeah, so I'll check from a like coaching perspective, like what I look for in a good setup. Okay. Like, would you say you feel tight in any area before setting up? Like hamstrings, this is the things that like I would ask you if you came for a lesson, and then if we were working together with Natalie, like we would sort of work together in that way.
Yeah, definitely tightness in the hamstrings for sure, but mainly all around this sort of lower back area. I have had severe back pain in the past, but I've cross my fingers, I've not had it for like...
Well, have you just said it?
Yeah, literally over over 12 months now, I've had no issues whatsoever, so I'm hoping that that's behind me now, but certainly a lot of tightness around here as well.
Okay, so from like a golf coaching point of view, I look for a few things here. Top of the spine, making sure it's not rounded over. You're a little bit round shouldered here. Again, maybe to protect lower back. And then I like to see the armpits hanging over sort of this area of our toes, which you do quite well, and then bum just hanging down behind the heels. Now, one thing that I like to see in the golf swing a lot, have a look at your feet there. Imagine that ball was at 12 o'clock. I like to feel those feet a little bit flared. Okay. Like if you're a golfer who struggles with your hips, like just put your toes in for me. That'll be better explaining the actual reason why for this. Now try and move your hips. Yeah, that's not happening. Yeah, exactly. It's really hard. Okay, just do the opposite. Just go flared a little bit. Now try and do it. Got a bit more range of motion there. That makes sense. So that's interesting. Like literally just by pointing those toes just slightly out. It's only slightly. It's allowing a lot more rotation in your hips, isn't it? For sure. Yeah, that'll be able to give us the actual reason. What is the reason for that?
So if you think if I face this way, if we point the toes in, this is not just a toe and a foot issue. In order to make the movement of that, you think the whole leg has to go with it. So as I come in this way, I've actually brought my thigh bone, my femur, internally into the socket, which means it's come closer to the zip of my body. If you imagine the zip is the midline of my body, in your backswing we ask you to move internally. So if you're already halfway there, you can't get there because you started there. Does that make sense? Okay. So we're asking you to try and turn on something that's already halfway there. Yes. It would be the difference between throwing a ball from here, like that, and the difference between starting here. I've only got that much motion versus that much motion. So, as Alex quite rightly said, it's an easy win and easy cheat for a lot of people to turn the toes out. We open the hips, pelvis out a little bit more, and actually it allows you to use the inside of the foot better for the rotation of the backswing, which, believe it or not, plays a massive role in how well you can turn. Okay. So it's a simple, easy little cheat. That is simple, You know, if someone's got poor mobility, from the longer term perspective, we want to try and fix that or improve it. But as Alex said, he can spot that with people straight away and go, if I just get them to turn their toes out, already they'll start to move better. Yeah. Okay. I think from that golf coach perspective, when you've got somebody like, for example, the first time someone comes a 2-hour lesson, there's only so much you can do by the time you've learned about them, learned about their game, their physical limitations, and then it's about managing what you can do as a golf coach, which there are ceilings to it sometimes. You simply won't be able to improve anybody just through golf coaching alone, and it's hard to get people to be forced to learn that way because we're told to go for a golf lesson, you sort yourself out. Where unfortunately it's not always the case. It's all part of a process, isn't it? Exactly. Yeah, that's really good. Give that a try. Just point those toes slightly out and you can really feel a lot more mobility in your hips as well. Okay, so there's been some great advice there. Certainly something that's going to really help me with my golf game for sure. Go and check out Offscratchgolf. It's a new channel. There's a link in the description. Go and subscribe. You're going to get a load of great advice on fitness and great drills that help your fitness, your flexibility, your performance. I think these guys are doing some of the really best stuff on YouTube regarding that kind of content now. And you guys have got an offer as well that you'd like to talk about. In tradition for how you feel, we're going to offer everybody who's watched this video 50% off all the plans, whether it's stop slice, bring back your speed, early extension. Just use Plank 50 now. Plank 50, love it. Plank 50, put that in a discount code and that'll give you the 50% off. Great, and we'll put links for all of that in the description as well. So there's a great offer there, 50% off on all these great plans that you can do to help your golf.